Hey guys, it's Maya. Once again, I am a psychic healer and intuitive life coach, and today I'm going to talk to you about embracing the mirror effect as a mechanism of self-healing. But before we do that, I wanted to just give a brief update on my 14 days of video project. Today is day 4, and if you watched my introductory video, you know that the reason why I'm doing this is in part to, share this information, and it is in part because it's part of my own healing journey, learning to accept and embrace myself as I am. So the update on that today, I decided that in this video, for the first time ever on YouTube, I would just have like my natural hair and just like no makeup, and that I would do a video with no preparations. So about 5 minutes ago, this video idea popped into my head, and now I'm going to do it. I hope that you will enjoy Maya in the unrehearsed format. So anyway, embracing the mirror effect as a mechanism for self-healing. What am I talking about? I wanted to define some terms for you. If you are a twin flame, you probably heard the term the mirror effect, thrown around all over the place. If you are not, it might be new to you. What I mean by the mirror effect is basically the effect by which the things that are in you are shown to you through other people. So when people are talking about the mirror effect, what they mean is that someone else in their environment has revealed to them something that is within themselves. So for example, a lot of the things in our environment that make us the most emotional or sort of get us in our core are usually things that are within us that we haven't been willing to look at. So an example of the mirror effect, say that maybe you are at work and there's this one coworker of yours who is kind of manipulative. Maybe that person, often sort of steals ideas from other people and then takes credit, for that work as if it were their own. And maybe this brings up a lot of feelings in you. Maybe you get angry, you get frustrated. Why is that person doing that? And you think, okay, why is that person doing that? Why are they taking credit for the work that isn't theirs? That's wrong. That type of thing. And it brings up all this emotion in you. That emotion itself, that's called the process of being triggered, which is another term that we can define. Anyway, the mirror effect, the ego tells you, oh, that person is bad, they're different than me, I'm good, that person's bad. That's the voice of the ego. But from the principle of the mirror effect, the mirror effect says, no, what that person is doing is they are mirroring to you the part of yourself that is desperate to be accepted and that is desperate for recognition, and the part of yourself that wants to be seen and recognized as a valuable part of the community. So when approaching that situation through the mirror effect, you no longer see that other person as being evil. You see them as showing you something about you, and likely, somebody that sort of stands up and takes credit for somebody else's work is somebody who really feels starved for validation and acceptance, within their work community. And there's probably a little part of that lives inside of all of us. And so that's an example of the mirror effect. And you hear the mirror effect a lot of times in reference to twin flames, because when we're in these intense soul relationships, a lot's being mirrored at us. So you'll often hear somebody say something like, I asked my twin if he could tell me, that he loved me more or reassure me more of the connection. And he said, no, I can't do that, or I can't be with you. The mirror effect says that your twin flame telling you that they can't give you what you need is an example that you're not showing up for yourself and you're not giving yourself what you actually need. Okay, these examples that I just provided were probably, what some people might call like negative examples of the mirror effect, because they were mirroring to us ways in which we were not fully loving ourselves. And sometimes the mirror effect works that way. The mirror effect also can work in a very positive way. So what do I mean by that? Well, the mirror effect basically says that everybody on earth is mirroring to us something within ourselves. I think that it's really rooted and grounded in this idea that we are all made in the image of God, and that we're all expressions of that sort of God energy, and therefore everybody around us is is expressing as God or as, the core of who we are. It's based on the idea that we're all from the same source energy. The mirror effect is basically saying that, everybody around us is mirroring to us something within ourselves. They're trying to teach us who we are. So this is based, again, on the idea that the purpose of life is to know God through knowing ourselves and knowing others. So anyway, the mirror effect can work in a really positive way, and it does work in a really positive way. We go out into the world and we see people who are just beautiful and who are just wonderful and who inspire us, and we think, oh, if only I was like that person, right? So if we're coming from the paradigm of separation, which is like the opposite of fully embracing the mirror effect, we say, oh, if only I could be like that person, if only, because we're saying, oh, okay, that person's separate from us. The mirror effect says, no, that person that you admire, that person that you look up to, that person that you see as separate from you is actually showing you what's within you. And I fully believe and embrace this. That's why I make these videos, because I used to always watch people making videos and I was like, oh, if only I could be like that. If only that was within me. I so much admire that person. And then I embraced the mirror effect and I was like, hold on, that person is mirroring to me. The reason why I feel so much emotion around this is because it's within me, because it's so close to me. And so my emotions are responding to that. And that's why I feel excited. That's why I feel uplifted, because they're saying, no, we feel excited about that because that's a part of you, that's coming to you. And we want you to see that. So the mirror effect is based on using our emotional guidance system and trusting our emotions. And this is one of my videos that I know I'm going to do in this series, which is how to trust your emotional guidance system. But the mirror effect basically says when we feel strongly about something, when we have a strong emotion about something, that's our soul's way of trying to speak to us. So when we see something, it produces a strong emotion. That's our soul saying, yeah, look at that, look at that, look at that. This is an important mirror for you in your reality. And so this relates to the idea of being triggered, which a lot of people talk about. And when somebody says, I was triggered, what they mean is that their ego was activated or their ego was triggered. I think that phrase was kind of clipped over time, and people just say now, oh, I was triggered, I was triggered. So when they say that they were triggered, they mean they found their ego being activated in the sense of comparing themselves to others, saying I'm better than others, or I'm worse than others, or their fears were activated or something like that. If you want to use the mirror effect as a mechanism for healing, you want to look at the things that really trigger you, okay? So the things that are mirrored in other people that trigger you in the sense of bringing up a lot of emotion within you. This is one of the best ways to heal yourself, is by embracing the mirror effect. Even if you don't actually believe that everyone around you is another expression of yourself, even if you can't really get on board of that train, if you can just pretend that everybody around you is mirroring something to you, and ask yourself every time somebody interacts with you in a certain way, ask yourself, is that behavior within me? Is that within me? If you can do that, that will really mechanize your own process of self-healing. Self-healing is all about integrating and accepting all the aspects of ourself. So if somebody is, showing up in front of you, like your mirror, and they're displaying a certain behavior and you feel nothing, good job, that's an A+. Okay, that means that you have already integrated that aspect of yourself. But if somebody shows up in front of you and they do or say something and you start to feel yourself say, oh my God, I would never do that, ding, 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 you can use that mirror effect for self-healing, because the truth of the matter is we're all the same, we are all equal, we are all doing the best we can, and we are all mirrors to each other. So if it brings up a feeling of frustration, if somebody's behavior brings up a feeling of competitiveness, a feeling of fear, a feeling of ego, that's a good sign that they are displaying to you an aspect of yourself that you have not integrated or you have not accepted. That's why it makes you angry, because they're showing you something within you that you don't want to look at. When I say it's something within you, I mean within the larger you. I mean within you, your totality as a soul, not necessarily within your sort of human personality blueprint, okay? So, for example, maybe you're in Las Vegas and you see a prostitute on the street corner and you think, oh, what a dirty person. What dirty work. I would never do that. I'm not necessarily saying that that person who's mirroring to you that act of prostitution is representative of you being a prostitute, right? What I am saying is that that person, in doing that type of work, in being human and in taking that path, represents a possibility for who you could be or who you may have been. And it represents, in not being triggered by that, in not judging, we are acknowledging that. In that person's circumstances, I may have responded the same way. That somewhere within me lives a person that, under the right circumstances, may have also taken that path and may have also been a prostitute or whatever. The more healed that you are, the more you can walk into the world and not be triggered by anyone. Because the more that we accept that we are these vast beings that can express in all these different ways, the more that we can love others. So a lot of us resist embracing the mirror effect. This is what keeps us trapped in the third dimensional consciousness. We live a lot of our lives trying to hide and differentiate ourselves from people who are mirroring aspects of ourself that we don't want to look at. So a lot of people who, unfortunately, are living in that vibration of ego basically build lives around this idea of showing how I'm good and other people aren't. Or they're just trying to show their light, show their light, show their light, and then they try to comment on other people's darkness and stuff like that, just to point out, okay, no, that's in that person, but it's not in me. The truth of the matter is, if you feel guided to point it out, if you feel guided to point out another person's behavior, it is in you, I promise you. It is in you. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means it's in you. If it brings up something in you, anything that brings up any emotion within you, anything that brings up any feeling, any energy is within you. So if you're resisting this, if you're resisting seeing other people as other aspects of the divine and as other aspects of you, the larger you, the sort of God presence, then you get angry a lot. You get mad at what people are showing you. Mad, anger, frustration, resistance, ugh. However, if you can make that switch, into getting excited about what other people are showing you, you will feel so good, and you will honor the other people and what they're showing you, and you will feel so much love. And when somebody comes to you and they're coming from a place of vulnerability and they're showing you some of their darker aspects, you can just embrace them and love them. And in doing that, you will be healing yourself, because you'll be saying, no, I'm not going to judge this aspect of you. I know that this is within me. And every time you acknowledge that what that person is showing you is within you, it's like you're reintegrating that aspect of yourself that might have been fragmented. Maybe you rejected, or your family rejected, your friends rejected that aspect of you a long time ago and says, oh, no, that part of you that wants attention, that part of you is bad. That part of you that's angry, that part of you is bad. That part of you that wants to express your sexuality, that part of you is bad. When we see those aspects reflected in other people and we choose to accept and honor that as a valid expression of the divine, that's like taking those aspects of ourselves and welcoming them back into ourselves and saying, yes, I can love you, I can accept you. It doesn't mean that you don't want to rise higher, when you acknowledge some of those lower aspects of you or whatever. Ultimately, it's all equal, but it doesn't mean you don't want to rise higher. It means that you want to be whole, and that's what the path to awakening, that's what the path to healing is about. A healed person can look at anything that they have ever done and accept that thing and accept it as a valid expression, an important part of who they are. Somebody that's unhealed says, well, these are the things I can look at about myself. These are the things I can look at, and then they ignore the other things and say, oh no, that's not in me, that's not in me, that's not in me. Everything is in us. We are vast beings. Every possibility is within us, and we live all these lifetimes. And right now, you might be a perfect preschool teacher, but that doesn't mean that, 2 lifetimes ago, you weren't a prostitute. So when you see that prostitute on the corner, you don't say, oh, that's wrong. That could never be me. You say, I'm so grateful that I live in this life right now. I understand that could have been me. We all have everything within us. We all have everything within us. And when we learn to see everyone as mirrors of ourselves and to get excited about that process and to love that process, then we learn to accept ourselves. When we learn to accept ourselves, we learn to accept others. And when we accept others and learn to meet them where they are, that's when we don't have conflict in the world anymore. That's when we don't have ego. That's when we don't have pride. That's when we don't have separation. When we don't have separation, that's when we finally get to live in heaven on earth. When the separation is gone. The separation is an illusion. I know it's a strong voice, but that voice that tells you that person over there, they're totally different than me. that person over there, they're totally different than me. That's a lie. That's separation. That's a lie. In the eyes of God, we're all one. We're all the same. If something is being mirrored to you that constantly triggers you, that constantly makes you feel emotional, and you have not integrated that part of yourself and you're feeling angry or low vibratory or whatever, I encourage you to stop, ground yourself, get calm, and then accept the possibility that that thing that upsets you is within you. And if you can rise to the occasion and you can learn to take that part of that other person and see it as part of yourself, and then lovingly embrace that part of you and say, this is great, this is wonderful, this is a part of me. If you can do that, that's how you're going to heal. And it's wonderful to heal. The process of healing is absolutely wonderful and absolutely unbelievable. We struggle when we resist the process of healing. As long as you're resisting the process of healing, hiding from yourself, you struggle, frustration. As soon as you embrace the process of healing, things start to get awesome and beautiful. I think a lot of us are afraid of the healing process, but there's nothing to be afraid of. The healing process is great. It's resisting the healing process that sucks. So stop resisting, start using the mirror effect to heal yourself, and you're going to see your life get awesome. Just love everybody out there that's showing to you all the things that they're showing to you, and try to have gratitude for what they are showing. I hope that you have enjoyed this video on how to use the mirror effect as a mechanism for self-healing. If anybody has any questions or wants to do a coaching session to look more at how they can use the mirror effect to better improve themselves, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can find me on choosefaithnotfear.com. And as always, if you mention that you have watched this video, you can get 15% off any of my services. Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed this, and I hope that you have too. I'm sending you my love and light and lots of well wishes for your healing journey. Thank you so much, and namaste. Bye.